No,
bike then if you're
no,
not letting me search you?
I don't consent to any such thing.
This is the very first thing to know about dealing with cops, is that you have the right to say no to a search. Love, peace, positivity, all that, man. We are out here in nature, and today we have a very important presentation, which is cops, how to deal with them, and more importantly, the profiting off of detriment of humans, how they profit off of the detriment of humans and made whole industries around our downfall. Okay, it's gonna be very important, so this pertains to all males, particularly all black males, so share this with all your friends and everybody who is young and coming up and might not know this information. All right, so we're gonna get straight into it. You have the right to say no to a search. And also at the end, I'm gonna give you 3 tips on how to deal with the cops and how to deal with their psychological games, and just tips on interactions during a traffic stop or during some type of detainment or something like that. You have that right. And you don't have to talk to them. You don't have to answer any of their questions. Now, this is also something that you have to remember, that they can look at things in plain sight, but that does not mean that they can manipulate the things that they see. Like, they can't move it, they can't flip it to look under, they can't do any of that. So let this be a warning. If you have anything on you, do not have it in plain sight.
3395. Where you coming from? 295. You speak English?
Yes, sir. I just don't really feel like talking, sir.
Okay, that's fine. I just like talking to people. It's my job.
Yeah.
How's your day?
It's just that the questions that you're asking have like an ulterior motive, so it's like, why?
Asking how your day is?
No, asking where I'm coming from. Can I search you? Like, these aren't things for my benefit, so why would I even partake in genuine conversation?
No, this is what I mean by ingenuine conversation. They're always going to ask some question like, where are you coming from? What are you doing? What you up to tonight? It's not because they care, bro. They don't give a fuck about you. It's obvious, by the way, that this man keeps on shining his light in the basket of my... They use one thing, like a traffic stop because I didn't have lights on my bike, as a way to escalate it and look into other things in the case law, that they have a reasonable amount of time to do their specific job. So this was a traffic stop, because they cannot just freeze up your day for 16 hours for 1 hour just because they feel like it. No, these people are not God, bro. Stop treating these people like they God, bro. They not God.
But like, I'm clear, right? I'm clear to go?
Or anything like that. No, you're not clear to go yet. We'll let you know when you're clear to go.
But why am I not?
Because
Because
this is
the
a traffic
traffic
stop.
stop has been okay. Like,
No, it hasn't been okay, because we could decide to write you tickets. We could be looking at
are
other
you going to
things.
write
You
me
could be
a
on
ticket,
probation,
sir?
you could be on parole.
But we just checked that.
No, we did not just check that. We're checking it now. Okay. Right?
Quick question. Why do y'all like stand in like that formation? Because it's like, nowhere I turn am I able to have my back to nobody.
Okay, so this is how it was. This was me. This was the car. This was one of the cops. This was 2. This was 3. Now, for some reason, I didn't deem it safe to turn my back to the car. So I'm trying to find a place to turn my back here where there's nobody here. And I'm like, bruh, y'all always doing this. Why are y'all flanking me? And this is what he had to say about that.
Right, yeah, so this is about us being comfortable, right? Because we're the ones that are doing a job where people don't like us, like you don't like us, which is totally your right to not like us. However, it's our job also to make sure that we're safe, correct? And although you don't like us, you don't seem like you're a super threatening guy, right? But we deal with threatening people all the time. So we do things to stack the cards in our favor.
And this is another thing. When they come and they stand in formations around you, and they like always like to like flank you, and these are moves of war, bruh. This is what people do in war.
Sir, so since you did not have lights on your bike, I'm going to write you a ticket for that, okay? And do you consent to us searching your bag?
I do not consent to searches, sir.
You are-
But there is 2 times that not consenting to a search will not work. And this is with frisking. The word frisk was a man's last name, and they had a whole case and trial about it. They can frisk you even if you don't consent to a search. If they know that there is criminal activity happening, frisks are only for weapons. So they can't feel like a little baggie of weed and then be like, oh, that's a baggie. No, that's fruit from a bad tree. It won't hold up in court.
All right, this is the same night, riding back home with my lights on how they want. And as you can hear, this helicopter has been hovering for a long time. Circular. Me. And it's always been about this length away. This is probably his 6th rotation around me. Here he goes. Let's watch. That's the same.
Point this human life turn to a product of the business. If y'all gon' be the heroes, then me, I'ma be the villain. How the prison industry
There
works.
we go. Load a picture. And there you go. That's crazy, right?
Now I'm ready, I've been trading, I've been sweating, I've been gaining and progressing, nigga. Full-time cat for president, nigga. What you doing irrelevant, nigga? My closet full of skeletons, nigga. Turn your head to a relic, nigga. What else? Won't lose no sleep, not any. I'm still gon' stack these Benjis, stack them racks to the ceiling. Back to back, we gon' win it. Back to back, Super Bowl victories. Power to the
Watch, I'm gonna pop back out on him.
Bitch, I still got you.
I'm not afraid of your bad, you can't come in my vicinity. Product of your business,
If that's
my
not
risk,
harassment, bro.
How you not racist when you
All right, so follow the touches on my screen, and I'm gonna show you how this guy popped into the screen, right? So he came over here. He came over here, stopped right here, right? And then he kept going over here. He stopped right there. Then he kept going. He circled around the loop, stopped right there. He circled around, and I think he definitely stopped right here. And then he stopped right at the entry, which is very close to the bus stop, which is over here. So I'm like, bitch, why the fuck, in conjunction with the helicopter, are you out here harassing me?
Great evil isn't done by monsters. It's done by normal people, simply accepting the programming of a corrupt system without a second thought. I'm not a product of your business. My arrest come with incentives. How you not racist when you serving a racist system? Get enough arrests, you buy a house and get a pension. How you protect and serve, but see you circling like fishes. I see you out for blood out here searching for a slipper. Psychological games don't work on me. Think quick.
So here we are at the site with the latest single, and we got the latest intellectual long form thing. But here down at music, we have a lot of songs. There's way more, but those are just the ones that are. We got the knowledge tab. Oh, yep, about breaking down why the U.S. dollar is actually counterfeit. That's a good one. Email list. Catch me on TikTok. Look, them boys out right now. Them boys out. So look, because it's the end of the month, so they quota. So it's time for them to hit their quota. They crunching to hit their quota. So now, okay, they might say that they don't have a quota, right? I have a question that I've been wanting to ask a cop. Right?
Okay.
Cool. Say if you don't get enough arrests or tickets per month or per quarterly, however it goes, would you get fired?
We don't have quotas, so it doesn't affect anything.
Yeah, not a quota, but would you be seen as underperforming?
No.
No?
job.
So let's really clarify what I mean by how this whole thing is a business. This is from the prisonpolicy.org. This is great journalistic work by a Peter Wagner as of 2017. So this data is kind of outdated. So you can go to this site and look at all of the sources and all of that in which he gets his information. But look at this. Okay. Here you can see following the money of mass incarceration. Here you can see all of these figures: the judicial and legal, the public corrections agency, judicial and legal, the prosecution, indigent. Now, most of these fees are covered by who? You, the taxpayer. The tax. You can see how big that policing thing is. That's a big circle right there. That's a big circle right there. But now, when you look at this, think about all of the jobs that it provides. Prosecution, that includes the judges, the public defenders, not to mention the construction. That's a big one because these are big ass buildings, bro. These are big ass huge buildings. Healthcare, public employees like the nurses and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Now this part is very important. Private corrections and private prison profits. If you do not know, there is a such thing as private prisons, and it is not a rare thing. There are definitely out there, and in Florida there are lots of them. Okay, so that means to illustrate both the scale of the private prison industry and the critical fact that the industry works under contract for government agencies. Under contract, which means that this is a system that's being fed and needs to be fed. So when these cops say that they don't have a quota, okay, maybe you don't have a direct quota. There is a whole system to feed. And everything, including these cops' salaries and paychecks, depend on inmates. And not only inmates, we have not even gotten into the topic of probation. Now here we can see the pie chart of probation. An estimated 3.7 million adults are under community supervision. So that's 3.7 million. Nearly 2 million people in prison. That's not even accounting for jail. So basically, we can start a whole country, a whole small country, just with incarcerated individuals. There are that much numbers. All right, now we're not only talking about incarceration that is part of this business, because this business is a huge complex. Understand that. Says, for example, criminal justice fines and fees can be substantial. In at least 38 towns and cities in the U.S., more than 10% of all revenue is collected from court fines and fees. In St. Louis County, for example, 5 towns generated more than 40% of their annual revenue from court fines and fees in 2013. Let's look into what these people are actually locked up for. Okay, so a large number of this is coming from drugs. Okay. Not to mention that half of these drugs are getting planted in the inner city communities. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then research Rick Ross. No, not the rapper, the person who the rapper based himself off of. When we're talking about the private prisons and the profits of private prisons, this industry is dominated by 2 large publicly traded companies, CoreCivic and the GEO Group. Highlight publicly traded companies. This means that these are stocks. You can go and buy some of these shares right now, like how Michael Jordan said that he has shares in a prison. Yes, and this is not a rare thing. Like, this is a thing, man. So publicly traded companies. So what exactly does that mean? The profiting off of human detriment.
Hold on, bro. Y'all thought I was playing. That's just one that just rolled past. Bro, they are going stupid tonight, bro. They all in that man shit, bro. Y'all thought I was.
Okay, so tip number 1 on how to deal with cops is never consent to a search of any kind. Do not. No matter how much times they ask you, because they're going to ask you a good 3, 4, 5 times, bro. Do not consent to searches, okay? That's just tip 1. Tip 2. This right here is your best friend. But it's not just enough to record them, just like how they're recording you, like how they're supposed to. You need to have it live streaming just in case if they want to sabotage it or they want to put your phone in evidence. No, you have to be live streaming it and also have that live stream save automatically and upload automatically, or have a friend screen record it, something like that. You feel me? Because you want to, the number one thing is accountability. You want to hold these people accountable, bro. And one of the best ways to do this is through video footage. And also, while you have them on video footage, identify every cop that's on the scene, because they know you, right? So let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it equal. Let's keep it honest. They are not superior to you. If they have your information, then you deserve their information. That means name, badge number, and business card, just in case if you need to contact them because something went wrong with the stop and now, you feel me, like for instance, in my case, when they stopped me and then the stop was over, but then they called the helicopter and then the helicopter was harassing me. What I should have did was gotten the business cards of all of them, and then that one car that kept on pulling into the parking lot just to harass me, I should have gotten his car number, because on the side of every car is an identification number. It's like a 3-digit number. You need to get that too. Tip number 3, and then I'm out of here. You do not have to answer any of their questions. I repeat, you do not have to answer any of their questions, and it's in your best interest not to answer any of their questions, because you have to understand that these cops, they play a lot of psychological games, bro. So they'll like ask you a question to make it seem like, oh, they're interested in you, or they just want to see like how like your day was. No, this is not just the judicial and the criminal system that profits off of the downfall of humans. This is there's multiple industries that deal with this, whether we want to talk about the food industry. So there's multiple. So this is going to be the first of a series called something like the profiting off of the detriment of humans. So just be aware of that, and that's coming soon. I love y'all. Peace, man. Peace.